In this video, we are going to go over an example of a butterfly spread using call options. And one thing to know is that you're going to be doing one long call with certain strike price K1, another long call with certain strike price we're going to call K3, and then we're going to short two calls. I'll get to that in a minute. There's going to be two of these with a strike price K2. It is important that your first long call is greater. The strike price is, let's go back. It's important that this long call, the strike price K3 is greater than K2, and K2 is greater than K1 for this to work. 65, 60, and 55 is our example here. So we can do it. Now, when do we want to do a butterfly spread? Typically, options are profitable. It's good to make money when there's volatility. The higher the volatility, the more opportunity to make money with options. But what happens when the market has low volatility and your probability of profiting from option trading or buying and selling options goes down? Okay, so here you see low volatility preferred. It's when you want to apply the strategy. Why is that? Let's look at the chart. Notice that this red line indicates where your profits would be with this strategy. So what you want to be is here, where the red line is above the black line, but you don't want it to move too much. It's okay if it moves, as long as it stays within this range here, these two spots where it crosses. Because if the volatility is too high, it's going to send you too much to the left, a negative profit, or too much to the right, negative profit again. So that's the whole point of low volatility, that you stay within a small range and you can still profit when there's low volatility. Okay, so let's go over the details. We're first going to talk about this table here and explain what they do. Then we're going to talk about what these numbers are, which is the actual scenario, and including the premiums that come with it. And then we'll talk about how you calculate the profit, which is a combination of what's going on here and a combination of what's going on here. I would like to make a note that this scenario is based on K2 being right in between K1 and K3, as in the average of these two. Now, that is not necessary. The only requirement is that K2 is in between K3 and K1. However, be advised that if this was to be 62 or 63, this scenario will still play out like the chart, but the profits will be a little different, because when these get exercised, it'll behave differently here. So all to it is that the profits of the strategy vary depending on K2 going up or down, but it still works as long as you're in between 65 and 55. Okay, so in this scenario, because we have three options, not just two, there are four potential situations that you may face according to the movement of the stock price. You could be where the stock price in the future is less or equal than K1, 55 in this case. You could be in a situation where the stock price in the future is between K1 and K2. A situation where the stock price is between K2 and K3. And a situation where the stock price is greater or equal than K3. So those are your three potential ranges. The way they look here, if you got stock price in the future less or equal than K1, we're saying anything from here to here. It's talking about this piece here. We'll revisit this in a minute. The second scenario, you are between K1 and K2, but not equal to either one. So we're looking at 56 to 59. So you're looking at that piece there. The other scenario is where you're between K2 and K3, but not equal to each other. So now we're looking at 61.2. Where am I here? 65. Or 64 because you can't be equal to 65. Now, you probably wondered, if I did this and I did this, what happened to this one? Well, this is a bit of an overlap. Your result will still be $4, whether the 60 falls here or the 60 falls there. It's fine. So it could apply to either of the scenarios. It'll be like right at the edge of each one of them. Then stock price of, in the future, greater or equal to K3 being 65. How about this range here? Okay, so what happens is each one of these options are going to have a different payoff according to the stock price. Now, remember, we have 4 of them total, but 3 types. 1 long call, 2 short calls, and another long call with a higher premium, the higher strike price, I'm sorry. Now, what happens when the stock price is less or equal in the K1, which means it's less than everybody else? This is the scenario here. Notice all these zeros. Nobody exercised, nobody had to buy anything because of the stock prices lower than any of the strike prices, and these are call options, so no exercises happened. That's why you got 0 payoff on this one, 0 payoff on this one. Now, remember, I mentioned earlier that even though this only represents a single one, we are doing 2 of them. So that's why second long call, I'm sorry, payoff of 2 short calls is here 0. So payoff on this one is 0. Payoff on the second long call is 0. Payoff of 2 short calls is 0. When you add them together, you got 0. If the stock price is between K1 and K2, meaning between 55 and 60, we're looking at this range here. Notice that in this case, some exercise took place here. And that is your first long call because the stock price is greater than the strike price. So it was exercised, but not here, not here. So that one has a payoff there, but the other 2 positions do not. So this plus this plus this equals this. And the way you calculate it is the stock price at time in the future minus K1. So it's going to be a range. That's what we said, the range here. The next range, it's the stock price is above K2 and below K3. So we're looking at this range here. Notice there's no one number. So what happens? Now we have, there's some exercise happened here and here because the stock price is above these 2 strike prices. So these are getting exercised, but this one is not. So what we have now is then there's a payoff on the first long position. So we have that stock price minus K1. There is no payoff here because the strike price is, the stock price is below the strike price. But here there's a payoff, it's negative because you're in a short position. You sold these and somebody exercised. The 2 in front of the parentheses is because, as I mentioned, we're doing 2 of these in the strategy. So when we net these 3 out, you end up with a K3 minus stock price. The way that plays out, when you have, let's say, -2 times the stock price, netted out with this positive stock price here, it leaves you with 1 negative stock price. Then we're left with negative K1 plus twice the K2. But when you net it out, you can summarize it as K3 minus the stock price. And then at the end, what happens is when the stock price is greater than K3, the third strike price 65, meaning greater or equal this range here, everything gets exercised and they cancel each other out. You end up with that. So these are the payoffs, not the profit. So what we do is we take the payoffs, adjust them with the premiums, and then we get the profit. So everything here in between, that's just to show you what happened, but what you're really paying attention to is this end piece here. That's what we're going to use. So we take what happens when the stock price is less or equal than K1, this case 55. Stock price less or equal than 55. So we use this 0. Zero minus the $10 of the premium that went out because you purchased that call. You sold 2 calls. Remember, we said the strategy was 2. So we're going to take plus that premium money came in because you sold it, plus the $7. That's your I5. But I have there multiplied by 2 because we did 2 of those. Minus the $5 you paid for the other call premium. So when you take all those together, you have a -1. And that's why on this range here, you have a -1 down here. Again, this is explaining the cash flows. Let's say 55 is the stock price. $10 went out for the premium of this call. $14 came in because you did 2 of these. You sold 2 of those, so 7 and 7. $5 went out when you purchased this long call. Nothing got exercised. And when you net all those cash flows, you know, a -1, but you don't need to take all those steps. All we did here was check the payoff for the situation when you're in this scenario, adjust for the premiums, and that's your profit. That's what's -1 is the same here. So what do we do here? When your stock price is between 55 and 60, but not equal to 55, you can take the stock price minus 56. So how do we get that? So this is the scenario we're talking about. We do know we have this payoff, but we have to adjust for with the premiums. So the stock ST, the stock price at time of the future, we have it written there. So we don't got to bother with it because that changes because we're talking about this range between 55 and 60, greater than 55, so it's also 56. And these numbers change because the stock price is changing. So that's why the ST is not a specific number. But how do we get the 56? So we follow the rest of the formula. It says there minus K1. So I'll start with I3, which is minus K1, the $55, minus 55, minus the premium of the $10 I paid here, plus this premium times 2, because I have 2 of them in the strategy. And then the $5 minus the $5 we paid. And that's what you see in this formula. And that's how you got the minus 56. Let's see if it works out. If I'm at $58, which is in between 55 and 60, 58 minus 56, $2. It was 59, 59 minus 56, $3. If it's 56 minus 56, 0. And if it hits 57, the stock price minus 56, $1. And that's how you get that piece. Now what happens when you're between 60 and 65? So we go here. We have K3 minus the stock price. However, we have to adjust for the premiums. So what do we have? The minus stock price, same issue because of the range, the stock price changes. So we just need to figure out the part on the left. So I can start with K3, $65, minus the premium that I paid here, that's $10, plus this premium times 2, because I did 2 of those, and then minus the $5. So when you net it out, you get 64 minus whatever stock price is, and that is your profit. So let's see, $62 would be between that range. So 64 minus the 62, $2. Then we have the last piece, whether if the stock price is above $65 or equal. Now we're talking about this range here. So start with a 0. That's the payoff, right, of that scenario. So I take the $0 and start adjusting with the premiums, minus the $10 of the premium here, plus this premium, $7 times 2, that's I5, minus 18. I'm sorry, not 18, minus I8, which is $5. And that's ended with a -1, and that's all the -1s here. Now, what you're seeing here is how it starts at -1, then it goes up, goes up, goes up, and then it starts going down, then it starts going down, and then it ends up at -1 again. That is the red line here. These -1s go here, this flat red line here. Then it starts going up, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, then 3, 2, 1, 0, -1. And then it goes -1 flat. And that's what that represents there. That's it for this video. We'll see you on the next one.